Kim, what is our first main topic today?
All right, guys, our first main topic comes from Sam Sprill. He says, greetings, John and crew. Disney Plus Day definitely got me excited for the projects ahead from Pixar, Disney Animation, Marvel Studios, National Geographic, and Walt Disney Pictures. Release titles of their upcoming shows except for Lucasfilm, which only featured one show. How can such a big studio only announce one project? Find it very odd that this happened. What are your thoughts?
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, Sam. Yeah, so Disney Plus Day, I've gone through like a roller coaster over the weekend about how I ultimately felt about Disney Plus Day.
It was really fun to watch you do it live and read the tweet. That was really fun.
It was fun doing it until they pulled it down, until YouTube pulled it offline. Yeah, it was great until I fully expected YouTube to pull it down. No problems. It's fine. But even from the get-go, I remember as we were looking at the schedule and we saw, okay, social media stuff, and then 8 a.m. Pixar presentation, 8:45 a.m. MCU presentation. Where's the Star Wars presentation? No Star Wars presentation? Really?
I thought it was a little odd.
This is Star Wars. So I thought, okay, that's fine. We're going to get a whole bunch of small Star Wars announcements within the social media thing, right? But we really didn't. I mean, they announced that Boba Fett, a 21-minute documentary about the history of the character Boba Fett, was already up and online at Disney Plus. That's fine. And then they dropped that little Obi-Wan sizzle that we had already seen the day before, because that had already kind of come out and was leaked the day before. And I personally like the Obi-Wan sizzle, but a lot of people were unhappy because there was like no real footage. I mean, the show is shot. It's done. They're done production. They're doing post-production on it now. So you thought they would have shown some footage. Whatever, they showed some concept art. The concept art still gave us a lot of really interesting things. So I kind of dug that. But then they went through the whole thing and you realize that was it. And then I thought, well, there must be a surprise. There's going to be a surprise Star Wars thing that we weren't expecting. Like they're going to finish the MCU presentation. And then, Kathy Kennedy's going to come out with Ewan McGregor and say, oh, you didn't think that was all we had, did you? You didn't think we'd not do something for Star Wars, did you? But they didn't. They didn't. Nothing about the Book of Boba Fett. Nothing about Mandalorian Season 3.
Or Ahsoka.
Nothing about Ahsoka. Nothing about Andor. Nothing about the Acolyte. All these things that they have either already shot, in production, or in pre-production already, none of it. Didn't even breathe a word of any of it. Now, I don't want to be one of these guys, which I am apt to being, that reads too much into something. But let's take a look at what the folks over at Variety had to say. They said the following. Lucasfilm's presence was also surprisingly muted for Disney Plus's day, given the scope of the company's announcements for the streamer last year. To build anticipation for the Book of Boba Fett in December, the company debuted Under the Helmet, The Legacy of Boba Fett, a 21-minute retrospective documentary on the iconic character. But the series didn't showcase any actual footage from the shows. There were no mentions, let alone updates of Andor, the Rogue One prequel series starring Diego Luna, or Ahsoka, the spinoff of The Mandalorian starring Rosario Dawson, or Mandalorian Season 3, or The Acolyte, or any of that stuff. Nothing. And I'm going to tell you why I think that is. And let me preface this by saying, this does not come from insider information. This is all based on my own fan speculation. But my fan speculation was absolutely right about the Kathleen Kennedy and Patty Jenkins thing, and I'm going to tell you what I think is going on here. This is very worrisome to me because I believe this is a sign that Lucasfilm is in complete disarray right now. I think Lucasfilm is in complete disarray. You can't do Disney Plus Day. When you go back to that Disney Investor Day meeting, they unveiled like 10 Star Wars projects. Like 10. They had so much to talk about. And now, with all these big plans for Disney, I mean, Mandalorian has been like your biggest thing. You got Book of Boba Fett, more Mandalorian, Ahsoka, all this, Andor, all this stuff coming. And on Disney Plus Day, with all these big Disney Plus things. Look, all due respect to Chris Hemsworth and his abs, and that National Geographic show he's doing, that looks interesting. Do you think 5% of the people watching the Disney Plus Day gave a rat's ass about Chris Hemsworth's abs climbing a mountain on National Geographic as they do about Mandalorian Season 3? I'm not saying nobody cared about it, and it did look pretty good.
I mean, it had 100% of my excitement, but I get
sure
what you're
did.
saying about everybody else, though.
I am absolutely sure it did get a lot of excitement from people. But here's the thing. Way more people were sitting there hoping to see, and like the Will Smith Nat Geo thing they did, that also looks pretty interesting.
I thought that there would be something with Hayden Christensen, like, I'm so excited to come back. This is how I feel. I thought at least there would be some, if not footage, at least some commentary from Rosario Dawson, How
can you not put Rosario Dawson on camera?
The fan casting to This Is How I Feel. Obviously we've seen her before, but having her be in the spotlight with her own show, I was surprised that there was like nothing.
Nothing other than an Obi-Wan thing that leaked the day before. And we already now know about the turmoil going on with Rogue Squadron. And again, I cannot say this is fact. I absolutely 100% cannot say this is fact. So please hear that. But understanding the way Kathy Kennedy has run this company, and again, I am a big fan of Kathleen Kennedy as a producer, first ballot Hall of Famer as far as I'm concerned. But guess what? Just because Wayne Gretzky was the greatest hockey player of all time does not mean he was the right guy to coach an NHL team. Just because you're amazing at one thing doesn't mean you're amazing at the other. Well, they're both hockey, but they're two different things. Coaching a team is different than being the greatest player in the world. And Kathleen Kennedy being a producer, and she's one of the best that's ever done it. But that, and now actually being the executive in charge of the company, it's two different roles, and she has not done a great job, at least when it comes to this sort of thing. And when you hear about the turmoil with Patty Jenkins, that they haven't even agreed on a story yet, and it's Disney Plus Day, there's no way they don't talk about their Star Wars stuff. I am left with nothing else but to speculate that whole place is probably a dumpster fire right now. Lucasfilm is probably in complete disarray. You remember they tried to do they made this big push for their High Republic era stuff, and they put out all the High Republic books. I read the first one, not bad, but nobody's talking about High Republic. Nobody is talking about High Republic. And I just think we are very close to hearing about the departure of Kathleen Kennedy. I think we're getting close. I don't know. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What do you think?
I sure hope not. Who would come in her place that you think is qualified to turn the ship around?
I mean, they'll get somebody whose name we never probably even heard of. It'll probably just be a very good studio executive, somebody whose name does not go in the headlines. I mean, I would love Jon Favreau, because Jon Favreau...
I was just going to say that, actually.
Yeah, because when you look at Favreau, here's the thing. The way he has run Mandalorian, he has run it like a studio executive. He has different directors for all the episodes, and he shepherds the overall thing. He's been training Dave Filoni about how to direct live action. He has worked with all these great directors, and he shepherds the whole thing. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be Jon Favreau, but I, for one, would be pretty happy to hear it was Jon Favreau, because he has shown he can kind of fulfill that kind of role. And then if he wants to, he can still step in. Because I remember, like Rob would say sometimes, and he'd make a really good point. He would say that, well, Jon Favreau still wants to be creative. He doesn't just want to be an executive, right? But I point you to Pixar. Pixar's chief executives still get in there and write the stories and will direct some of the films sometimes. John Lasseter did it. Peter Docter does it. So there's no reason at all that like a Jon Favreau couldn't step in there, run the whole ship, and still get involved and direct some individual projects if he wanted to. But again, I doubt it'll be Favreau, probably an unknown name, but I'd be down for it either way. Question is for you guys. What do you think about the complete absence of Star Wars stuff from the Disney Plus day. I fear it means that there's a lot of chaos and turmoil going on at Lucasfilm, but maybe I'm wrong. There might be a completely different explanation for it. Don't know. Questions for you guys. What do you think about that? Jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys.